It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Mariam Longe. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. I'm okay. I'm doing
Love
well.
the hair.
Thank you very much.
So
everybody knows my running battle with Mariah and my hair.
how was your weekend?
Oh, geez, this weekend, when they say life was lifing,
Oh, man.
I woke up on Saturday morning to a very sad news. My friend lost her fiancé.
Oh.
Then Sunday, my best friend lost her mom.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, you know, I really did not want to start off the week for you guys like this, but I will just use this opportunity to send a message to the Etidaye family. Hajia, you know, that's Nene's, my friend's mom. She was a wonderful woman. She was a good woman. So, you know, I take solace in the fact that she lived a good life. She was a good mother, prayerful. Every moment she calls, she's just praying for you, you know. She embodied piety. You would hear this over and over about her, you know, when she's been described that she was a pious woman. So for that, we thank God for a life well spent. And to my friend, thank you for what you did for her throughout her lifetime, for being there and loving her and taking care of her like a daughter, you know, should. So thank you. She watched our show every day. She did not miss it. If she got up and it was not on, she would ask for it to be put on, you know. So rest in peace.
Sorry about that. Amaka Fresh in the building. You know, I saved your number as Amaka Fresh. I don't know why. But when I first met you
like Amaka Fresh, really?
You know, yeah, because I can't remember. You said something about being fresh, so I don't know. I just remembered fresh was I saved your number as that.
Can never be left on fresh.
Yes, yes, that was the phrase you used.
Yes,
how you doing? Good to have you back.
Fine. Good. Thank you so much for having me. Fine, thank you. I worked on Saturday, so Sunday was all about self-care and resting because I knew I had to be here early.
Amaka gave me something about food, like some food therapy. I never in my life know that you do food therapy.
Yeah.
She gave me a pack and I put it on and I used it. I'm like, what the bananas? It actually works.
What, the one you put?
Something.
I'll get you
the moisturizing.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
My feet was
self-care.
Edible. Feet, I felt it was edible.
Yeah.
How you doing? I don't know these American fresh people. Okay. How you doing, Obiajilu? Intel Belt, how's your weekend?
My weekend was amazing. So yesterday I was at the Women's Club. They were doing their all-white party. So I was invited. I didn't know anybody then. They reached out to me to come and speak to the
Sorry,
lady.
your mic is off. The enemy's house.
Nobody can hear
Everybody's
that.
in your father's house. To you early morning.
This bathroom was shared.
You come back when we come and do the report. For me, I think I went. I used Third Mainland Bridge.
Okay.
The new side.
Okay.
It's good.
Well
It's good.
So the new side is...
So that's the
what
side going
the
towards the island.
Okay.
That's what they opened up. That's what she used when coming back. We are going back.
I go through
You
Korodu
go
Road,
to
I
right.
do, yeah.
I mean, I saw it and say, when government is doing right, let us celebrate them.
Okay.
It was well done. For a second, I thought I was in Abuja. Because
wow.
It was well done.
Oh, okay.
It was really, really well done.
Fantastic.
Well
We
done.
can't wait for it to be open.
Yeah,
can't wait.
so they switched the other side. And so I just had to just give them that credit. The weekend was one of those weekends that I just needed to just be by myself and, you know, and do a lot of thinking, reflections, and getting things together. But I think I'll be okay.
How did the
will
inter-house
be.
go on Friday?
Yeah, it went well. We
the
came
picture.
third.
Yes.
My daughter in her race came third twice.
Okay,
But
good.
the house we were first from the back.
Yes.
But it was all good. We did very well.
So what inspired the outfit?
I was
you
good
and
at-
Mr.
So
and Brown.
all the things. No, it wasn't just me and Mr. Brown.
think it was the house.
The house thing. So my own house was the Igbo culture. Then some had Indian, some had Ethiopian, some had. There was another culture. It was Kenyan. Something like that. One of those funny cultures.
Okay.
So we had Igbo culture.
So
we
I even
had
thought it was a whole Nigerian theme. I love that particularly. I was like, yes, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're pushing the
All of us
Nigerian
had to
narrative.
wear it.
It was really
Yeah,
nice.
it was nice. We had to dance. I was horrible in dancing, but I tried. It was
Did your
fun.
best.
Yeah, I did my best. Okay, let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we look at the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Pressure mounts on NLC over planned protests. Dangote, Soludo, Abiodun, Olumelu, Rewane, others in Tinubu's economic team. Okay, which story are we taking in nation?
political leaders, they say, pan-ethnic organizations, civil society groups, yesterday mounted pressure on NLC, that's the Nigeria Labour Congress, to shelve its proposed protest over the rising cost of living. I'm sure many of us know by now that there's a 2-day protest that's been billed to take off tomorrow, organized by the NLC. It's for tomorrow and Wednesday. So we have Afenifere, Lagos People's Assembly, Arewa Think Tank. They're all cautioning the NLC, against using protests to blackmail the president. They stress that the federal government deserves an opportunity for, deserves our cooperation in their bid to tackle the economic issues that are challenging us right now. We also have, last week, they said the president of Ohaneze Ndigbo urged NLC also to toe the line of dialogue. DSS as well has warned NLC that there's a possibility that the protest may be hijacked and, this may lead to, violence. There's also the police, the Lagos Police Command is also warning protesters to be careful so that in their protest that it should not hamper the movement of traffic during their protest. Then at the weekend, the Attorney General of the Federation warned NLC that going ahead with this protest will be in contempt of court. TUC, as we know, their partner organization, has also disowned this NLC plan and saying that they should just go the way of conversation or dialogue with the federal government. Anyway, NLC is saying, they're still going to go ahead. They're also making some allegations and accusations. A particular civil service forum, they call it Nigerian Civil Service Forum. They think it's an instrument of government to disrupt whatever they are going to do tomorrow. So we'll wait and see if by today would eventually just go to the table or if they will go and protest.
All right, let's take another story, Nation.
Okay, so we have the Rivers APC accuses Governor Fubara of reneging on peace deal. They believe that they're happy with the fact that he has actually implemented 6 of the deals that were on the table, but they're wondering why he's dragging his foot on the 2 key important ones, which are actually representation of the state's 2024 budget before the House of Assembly, and also the conduct of the local government elections, which have been unattended to. The party's chairman, Tony Okocha, argued that by not fully honoring the agreement, the governor has opened up the state again to another gunfire or gunpowder, and this might cause more political crisis for Rivers State.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just hope this is sorted out immediately.
Yeah.
So I have another story here. It said 7 persons reportedly died in a stampede that occurred during the sale of rice to members of the public at the Zone A headquarters of the Nigerian Customs Service on Harvey Road in Yaba, Lagos. The Lagos State chapter of the APC was the one that confirmed the death of one of their members, Comfort Adebanjo, and 6 others who died on Friday while attempting to buy confiscated rice from the NCS in Yaba. And they said the federal government had put the commodity on sale for 10,000 naira per 25 kilograms at the customs office, that they had promised to do this to cushion the effects of the hardship in the country. And so the APC confirmed Mrs. Adebanjo's death on Saturday in an obituary. He released to mourn the party member and other casualties, at the same time, of the alleged stampede that happened during the sale. And in their statements, they said that that's the NCS now making a statement through the National Public Relations Officer. They said that the sales were meant to aid food security and reduce the burden caused by the rising cost of essential food and items in the land. But there was a lot of people who came in there, and so that stampede happened and they lost about 7 persons. Wow. So I would appeal that they find a way to probably distribute this instead of having a lot of people come at the same time to buy. And that price would bring a lot of people because rice is now close to 70,000 naira.
Because they distribute every day.
They know how to do
They've
this
been doing this day in, day out. Engage them to assist you in these things.
Yeah. But I've also, I saw some place where when there's a stampede, how to protect yourself from stampede. Try and put your hands over your shoulder and then try and fall to your side.
Wow.
So that when the crowd falls on you, they don't fall right on top of you.
Your chest.
So.
The Punch. NLC protest, presidency, police issue fresh warnings as 65 groups pull out. Bureau de change operators Plan mergers, fault mandatory deposit. Port terminal operator, dock worker arrested over 1,000 kilograms of cocaine. Food smuggling, customs to man 1,500 illegal routes with drones. Governors Ilumelu Dangote make Tinubu's economic advisory panel. And forex threatens modular refineries, 25 billion naira daily crude input. Let me start with the economic team advisory committee that the president put together. So it includes government, federal government, subnationals, and the private sector. The president had called this meeting and said that he knows he doesn't have all the answers. He said development came as the outcome of the falling of the naira exchange rate, rising inflation, and other economic headwinds have continued to worsen the cost of living. So some of the prominent people there is Tony Elumelu, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Rewane, amongst many others. He said that it is to provide additional effort in stabilizing the economy and ensuring the best economic future. He said, let's look at what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong to bring life back to the economy. As I've said many times, the people of this country are all we think about. And we are looking for additional efforts that might help the downtrodden Nigerians. He says that we are not saying we have all the answers, but we will not be blamed for not trying. So we assure Nigerians that they do our best. So it's good to see that they're opening their doors. So if you bring in all your brains, all your experts in your country into a room, say, what can we do to help the economy? Then you hopefully find a way forward. Another story in the Punch?
Yes, I have. Lagos plans additional 2,050 BRT buses to ease transportation. The Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Osiyemi, says the state government is planning to buy no fewer than 2,000 vehicles to ease movement across the state. They say they are aware that we don't have enough buses. They say especially on Mondays, they are aware that Lagosians are queuing up, for a long time for these buses. So they're doing everything that they can. In fact, they're almost done with the procurement of 2,000 BRT buses to ease the queues in the station. And then they say that, as you know, Lagos State believes in public and private partnership. So they'll be working with an oil company that will be giving 50 electric buses in addition to the ones that government is procuring. So, very soon we'll have more buses on the road, and that will reduce the queues, the hours that Lagosians have to be on queues for buses.
We take another story?
We can take one more story, I think. I have time for one more story.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the BDC operators plan measures and force mandatory deposits. The president of the Association of the Bureau de Change of Nigeria, Aminu Wadebe, has said that members of the association would consider measures if the proposed guidelines for the operations go into effect. They also said that the proposed cautionary deposit is not global practice, so neither the BDC is engaging in deposit-taking operations. And also, they said that if sellers of forex to Bureau de Change operators, it's anything over $10,000, you have to come and tell them how you got the money and how you made the money. So you have to be transparent on that. So I wonder how that's going to. I'm curious on how this is going to play out. So let's wait and see. Yeah.
Let's go on a short break now. We'll come back. We continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. You had a story?
Yes, so the Nigerian Customs Service deployed drones and more operatives to restrict the diversion of foodstuff to neighboring countries through about 1,500 identified illegal border crossings. The National Public Relations Officer Customs, Abdullahi Maiwada, was the one who confirmed this to the Punch yesterday, and he says the NCS had increased its presence across the borders, including illegal routes. So he said that the development was in accordance or in compliance with the president's directive to the security agencies to stop the smuggling of food out of the country as part of the measures to stem the food crisis in the country. And they said this started happening because in the midst of the falling value of our naira, traders who were dealing in grains were taking their grains and other staples to other countries, Niger Republic, Chad, and Cameroon, for higher profits. And because of that, the food prices went up in Nigeria. We've had a lot of people protesting, you know, and attacking food trucks all across Nigeria. So worried by the situation, the president had directed the National Security Advisor, the Inspector General of Police, and the Director Department of State Services to go after food hoarders and smugglers, and they have been doing so. So far, they've been intercepting trucks of food that were meant to go to other countries and sending them back to the country. And they were able to do that as well as getting these drones in partnership with the Trade Modernization Project of the federal government. And they are the ones supplying all the equipment that they are using and also the manpower that they need to be able to stem this. Yeah.
Okay, Daily Sun. National Assembly considers conduct of all elections same day. Terrorism charges IPOB leader Kanu returns to Abuja court. Tinubu rallies Dangote, Elumelu, others to stabilize economy. Supreme Court gets full complement of 21 justices. We will build on huge infrastructural legacy of ex-governor Bello, says Fanwo. Lagos plans additional 2,050 BRT buses to ease transportation. Serap sues 36 governors over alleged failure to account for 40 trillion naira local government allocations. And Peter Obi warns against clampdown on bureau de change operators. Okay, which story?
NDLEA. Okay. Operatives of NDLEA on Sunday said that the unmasked members of an organized criminal network behind the recent importation of 2 containers laden with illicit drugs as well as assorted arms and ammunition from Durban, South Africa to the Tinkan seaport. And they said following credible intelligence, you know, they had looked through these containers and they found bags of Colorado weighing 192.7 kg, a pistol, rounds of ammunition removed from the container, and all these were removed from the container and they were hidden in an empty container. Anyway, it led to arrest of some dock workers and another suspect called Mohammed Sule, alias Organizer. He's at large. He's also a dock worker at the Tinkan terminal. So they said that this latest seizure brings the total recovered from the 2 containers to 56.39 kg of cocaine, 987.9 kg of Colorado, and so on and so forth. Also, this investigation led them to the kingpins. They said these people are in South Africa. They are Odeyemi Taiwo Emmanuel, Akiyemi Olayinka, and Adebayo Adewale Emmanuel. They are now on the agency's wanted list. Well done, NDLEA. And of course, there are even more stories of what NDLEA is doing across the country.
Yeah. Yeah, son. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, filed a suit against the 36 state governors and the Minister of the Federal Republic of Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja, Mr. Nyesom Wike, for the failure to account for the alleged missing 40 trillion federal allocations meant for local governments in the states and the FCT. So they said that they had to file the suits because there was a revelation made by the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, in December 2022, where he stated that if the money from the federation accounts to the state is about 100 million, 50 million will be sent to the chairman, but he will sign that he received 100 million. Then the chairman will pocket the balance and share it. He said the president said that, yes. And that's why they are filing for this. And now in the suit, they filed it last Friday at the Federal High Court, Abuja. SERAP is asking the court to direct and compel the governors to publish details of local governments' allocations and actual disbursement of their allocations to the local governments in their respective states from 1999 to date. They are also asking the court to compel and direct Mr. Wike to publish details of the federal allocation meant for the area councils in the FCT and the actual disbursement of the allocation to the area councils in the FCT from 1999 to date. So they asked for a lot of things, but they are hinging on the fact that they need all those allocations to be transparent so that Nigerians have a right, a human right to be able to see what is being spent, what is being allocated, and, you know, to be able to monitor all of this. And they need this to be made open. I think this is what democracy is all about. So you should show us how these monies are spent, and then we can, have the
Seraph is
conversation.
one of the most active pressure
Yes,
groups
they
we have.
are.
And I
They are
think
doing
that
good,
it's
yeah.
good for them. So hopefully the government respond. Now, the onus now on the government to respond.
Yeah.
We have to obey the rule of law in this
Okay.
country.
Yeah, I have a story.
I have a story too, but go ahead,
No,
Namaka.
okay. So, due to the hardship in the country, various associations are threatening to go on strike or to shut down. And then one of them, the Bakers Association of Nigeria, the bread producers threatened shutdown.
Wow.
Where they threatened to shut down production of bread if their demands are not met within 2 weeks. Briefing newsmen in Owerri, the Imo State capital, at the weekend, the state chairman of the association, Osman Nkoma, on behalf of the national body, said this has become necessary following several appeals to the federal government to help in bringing down the cost of bread productions.
Wow.
Yes. So the bakers further listed their demands to include liberalization of flour and sugar importations, reduction of import duties on major baking materials, provision of concessionary forecast exchange of flour millers, production of tariff on imported wheat and sugar, and tax holidays.
Okay. All right. So the leader,
I knew ways.
Yes, I can lose weight.
the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra will today return to Abuja, division of the Federal High Court, for his trial on terrorism charges. If you recall, the case had started back in 2015. Was put on hold after the Court of Appeal dismissed the terrorism charges against him back in 2022 in October. But the Supreme Court, back in December 2023, ordered the continuation of the trial, which is going to start today. And part of the notice that was given was that all the, according to the Justice Bintanyako, said that if either parties desire to postpone the hearing, it must apply to the court as soon as possible for that purpose, and that they expect everybody to come in with all the witnesses, all the documents leading to for the case must be provided so that the case can continue today. Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Let's find another story. Job losses, factory closures loom as unsold goods pile up, says man. Qatar makes U-turn to host investment forum during Tinubu's visit. Forex crisis, clamp down on bureau de change will worsen situation, says Peter Obi. Edo Guba, 15 men, 1 woman angling to succeed Obaseki. An anti-hardship rally, Falano writes AGF seeks protection for the NLC protesters. Okay.
Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, they're saying given the plunge or the continual plunge of the value of our naira since the flotation of the currency by CBN, and also the attendant consequences of that, of the falling exchange rate and all, it has an impact on the manufacturing industry. They're saying, in manufacturing sector, they're saying that reports across board is that many warehouses and plants of manufacturing firms are stockpiled with unsold goods manufactured last year. As a result, what is causing this stockpiling? They agreed the exchange rate. Then they say fake and substandard goods, smuggling and other macroeconomic challenges, and that this has now put the manufacturers in a great dilemma as they're applying brakes on the production and they're watching the market keenly so that they would see if this is something that they can continue. But they're also saying that no genuine manufacturer could successfully operate and make profit under the current scenario. And so they're going to be looking at it. They have companies like Nigerian breweries also recently issuing new price review notifications. So all this is going to affect whether producers will produce anything new. Too, with the recent price increase, Nigerians will buy these products. And if they're not selling, it may mean some people will be laid off. So this has a huge multiplier effect on our economy, and they are warning us on how this is doing so.
Yes, so the presidential candidate of Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, is describing the arrest of the bureau de change operators as well as the destruction of their businesses by government agencies as primitive and escapist. He advised government agencies involved to desist from because the BDCs were not the root cause of fluctuations in the foreign exchange market, neither were they were they responsible for the fall of the naira in the first place. So in his X handle yesterday, he says the actions were primitive and he showed a poor understanding of the problem. And he wrote, I want to quote this, he said, The recent reported attacks and disruption of the business activities of bureau de change operators in different urban centers across the country by government and government agencies are ill-advised and wrongly directed. Rather than solve the problem, the action will further escalate and worsen the exchange rate situation in the country. The BDCs are not the primary suppliers of forex, nor do they create demand. They only provide a market to sellers and buyers of foreign currency. They are part and parcel of every economy and can be found even in the developed economies of the world. It says to think that the BDCs are the cause of the declining value of the Naira smacks rational economic thinking. And the only way to show up the value of our currency is to move the country from consumption to production, especially export-led products, and also to fight corruption, which allows unproductive money to pursue the available supply of the foreign currency. And as long as we remain unproductive in producing and exporting, we will not get Naira to be back to where it's supposed to be. And so it's not the fault of the BDCs. That we should, continually think of ways to increase our own export so that we can get this dollar and stop embarrassing ourselves in front of the global economies.
I felt it was unfair just picking them up and just criminalize them.
Yes, all of a sudden.
When you have always
I
used
know
them.
that even in other countries, they operate.
Production doesn't happen
like
overnight.
that.
Yes, we need that working.
You also need electricity.
There are some immediate things, immediate steps you take first.
Power.
There's some immediate steps you take first. Even the production,
Electricity.
sometimes you have to do some check-up, but eventually, we can then, when the system is properly done, then they can function well in the proper system.
Exactly.
Moving on now to the Nigerian Tribune, if we have time.
No?
Oh, we don't have any more time. That's all we can take on the reviews. When we come back, move on to the next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So the Nigerian Customs Service has described the unfortunate stampede at its office in Yaba during the distribution of the 25 kg bags of rice in Lagos to residents. 7 people have died, confirmed dead so far. And what happened was that they had seized about 20,000 bags of rice, maize, beans, millets, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And the idea was to put these 50 kg bags into 25 kg compartments so that they can sell out to people at the cost of 10,000 naira. The idea was coming with your NIN as an identification, and then you have access to pay for it. Unfortunately, doing that, the flag off and then the honor sale to the people, there was a stampede because many people thronged the place and caused a lot of commotion. And this is another opportunity to discuss how governments carry out events like this. We see this happening. Picking up your passport, you're going for embassy, anywhere where you have crowd, they're giving out stuff. We always complain about the orderliness, the decorum, and we keep asking ourselves, why do we behave like this? And I mean, you can call us on 081-0764-1679, 090-24163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read the tweet. Interestingly, when people, when these kind of things happen, it bothers me because it goes back to how we always just think everybody thinks like us. Because you say just show up and collect. We don't think the same way somebody was suggesting that they should give arms to Nigerians just to defend themselves. I'm thinking, we want to give arms to certain people. So you ask just Nigerians, show up. It doesn't work that way. Even human, not even Nigerians, human beings. You can't just show up and expect to get the transaction. What are your thoughts on this? Because I feel like we don't learn lessons.
You have just finished it. We really do not learn lessons. This is not the first time things like this happen. And you would expect that, on one hand, the Nigerians themselves will begin to respect orderliness. No, they don't get it. If you call for another meeting tomorrow for people to come and pick up, what just happened now will not serve as a deterrent. Everybody will still rush there. People will still climb fences. We don't have respect for orderliness. Now, on the other hand, the government or the institutions themselves have not updated their systems in such a way that they help the people who do not like orderliness. So it's not something that one person will do by themselves. We have not matured to that point where we self-regulate ourselves. That's what's playing out, and it plays out in different endeavors. But then the systems would now find a way to help you self-regulate. We not get them. And we can't keep, and I know that they were trying to do good, you know, by making it easy for people to have access. Rice now is 70-something thousand naira.
Yeah.
You know, so that 10,000, buying rice for 10,000 is a huge deal. But of course, we would have Nigerians who would mess it up because we cannot hold ourselves. Because some of the people there too may not even need the rice. They are even in a hurry to buy, hoard, keep, and resell later to their other. So the problems are just many. How do we begin to educate ourselves to behave properly? I think that's where the issue is, while government is working on sorting out their systems.
Yeah. So, you know, it's sad that we're talking about this again. And on the one hand, you know, we can blame Nigerians all we want. Nigerians, but it's not a Nigerian issue. It's a human issue. Wherever there's no, there are no rules put in place, you find human beings act the way that happened, you know, at the weekend. And so for me, it's about our institutions. When will we learn? Yes, customs sees these food staples. Yes, they have put it together to give Nigerians, because I also heard that at one point during this exercise, they stopped collecting money and started giving it out for free. But you must sit down first and think about how to do it. You cannot have lived in Nigeria for as long as you have lived in Nigeria and not know that that was a disaster waiting to happen if you were to just leave it open. People will take advantage. People will try and jump over each other. People will go around, because they were complaining of round tripping, which I'm guessing they mean someone collects and goes back and comes back again. You know that human beings will behave this way. Then put the right processes in place. NIN number, what do you take when they show you the NIN number and you hand them over this bag? What else do you take or stamp on them to make sure that that person does not come back? We don't even do our own. It's just, we think it's just enough to have the right policies, the right intention, and then we're done. It's always a problem when we want Nigerians to come and do their verification of results, the same issue. When will we learn? You know, when we first talked about this last week, Maria had mentioned, I don't know, Maria, or was it BC that mentioned that we should use the churches and all other institutions that are known to do this. First of all, what that would have done is that there would have been many avenues for people to have gone. So instead of 100 people coming to a particular place, you have, you know, them spread across these places. But then to feel what does not make sense. Please, we should do better. And institutions need to start taking some form of being punished for this, because for me it's just irresponsibility.
They should even create a department.
Yes, irresponsible.
Within all these government parastatals that handle stuff like this. This can't give you one name, because it happens all the time. You want to collect your NIN, the same thing. You want to collect, do your BVN, same thing. You say every crowd. What are your thoughts on this?
So this reaffirms the lack of structure that we continue to see within the governmental organizations. It's sad that this kind of thing can happen, especially in this hardship, that people are coming to collect food. Imagine this happened where people were coming to get something to eat. And then this bothers me as relates to the strike that is about to happen. If we can't even have control over people coming to take food in this hardship, what will happen when people are going to now protest? They might be loitering, things will get out of control. So this really bothers me, like in terms of our safety as a public, as a nation. Like we really need to. This is just a small thing. It's not small. People died, but then this has just happened in a snippet of what's going to happen. So we need to be careful, and we need to try to.
What you said is very important, Amaka, because the truth is that when people start protesting, some hoodlums take advantage.
Always.
Start stealing, and they always do that. But even now that things are harder, the possibility for them to do that is going to be higher.
That really bothers me. So I don't want I just hope that the strike doesn't turn to the poor against the rich or the middle class, and then it gets crazy because people are angry.
I've always said on this table that, listen, some of these things, we need to always remember that we can't do things alone. Engage local government. Okay, how many people are in your look? We have 20,000 bags of rice, right? There's 5 Ibile in this Lagos, for example. We're going to send 500 to each government area. Now, each local government now must be responsible to ensure that they also follow due process, because some of them sell it amongst themselves.
their
own
own
people.
people, yeah.
It's all that ripple effect of responsibility as Nigerians. Because I don't trust the local government. I don't trust even the religious bodies to do it. I, as this customs, I'd rather do it myself. Because I believe.
We
But
cannot
the point that there's an issue of trust.
Yeah,
I don't
I know.
trust the next person for doing it right. So we have to all have to be responsible.
Yeah, but it's not your own. So you will learn to trust.
Trust, yeah.
You will learn to trust and allow the system to handle
But
the
if I
people.
trust them, they'll sell it to their friends and
No,
their
listen, now,
cronies.
the people
It's
coming
not
to collect from you now that
What's the difference?
are dying, what's the difference? Some are collecting to go and sell to their own people. They're collecting to sell at the market price to their own people. So when it comes to working together as a team, I know that Nigerians are lacking in that. We don't really know how to collaborate with different agencies and different people. We're not good with collaborating, but we have to learn it, because as your job description increases, you cannot do it alone. The customs cannot do this alone. And I like the example you gave now by calling the local government. If we had strong systems that would fish out the people who are doing wrong, you tell the local government to take it. And if at the level of the local government they are now hoarding it and selling it to the people they are not supposed to give to, the system will now handle them and deal with those people. So your job is to collect the rice from people who are trying to sell to other countries, confiscate it, and then share to Nigerians. It's not in your hand to do the sharing. So you shift the responsibilities, and everybody is held accountable for what they did and what they are not supposed, what they are supposed to do. So we must learn to collaborate and trust. That trust that we don't have is not helping us. The trust that we don't have has not served us. So you trust only yourself. How am I sure you yourself you don't have ulterior motive? It's not your rights.
So it's not even a matter of trust. It's just a matter of planning and putting systems in place. I don't even need you to trust me, because I have put the right system in place that if you flout it, it will show, it will flag you off, and I will chase you for bad behavior. We don't need anybody to trust anyone. You just need people to trust that the system will work, to know that there's a system that's been put in place for it to work. I did one course a very long time ago called POLCON, human resource course, and it had to do about planning. And, in that course, they talked about that, the time sometimes you spend in planning may be longer than the time you take in implementation. And it's important, and I feel that that's the problem with Nigeria concerning many things. We don't put the time for planning. When we sit down to plan, we will put into consideration all sorts of eventualities. Yes, we may be unable to cover everything, but we will minimize it by far, because we have planned ahead, we have looked at the different loopholes, and we have put stop gaps here and there. And so when we finally come for the time for implementation, it will not even take us so long. It will be easier to also see things that are likely to go wrong. But you put out a policy, you put out an exercise, the next thing you're out and act. The Nigerians and the customs, in this case, for me, there was no difference. It's the same Nigerians that are in the customs that don't understand that there's a way that you have to do things. This was wrong. The deaths that happened did not need to happen.
Let me go on a short break now. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this matter. I think Amaka was going to say something. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so I wanted to reinstate on what BC said in terms of the trust issue here. If we could trust customs that they told us that they declared 20,000 back. That's what they told us. We trusted it. I don't know if anybody went to verify or...
It was 20,000 or 50,000.
So if we could trust them, why can't they trust other governmental agencies to help, or churches, like PC said? Yeah. So I think the issue of trust, or in this issue of trust, is a problem. Do they have something to hide? Are they hiding something?
I think when I hear trust, what I'm saying is that even us as Nigerians, for example, if I'm having a birthday party in my house and I want to give out souvenirs to the kids, I don't trust that my assistants will give everybody. So I'm like, I'd rather distribute it myself. We all have that. It's a subliminal issue we all have as Nigerians.
Exactly.
We want to either do it ourselves or we give out some people, or we keep a certain type for certain class of friends, or I kept this one for my own, from the Nima and talk about my own friends. This is for the general. You know, we all have these things where we say, this is for people, I don't want you to touch it. So the same thing with customs. We're saying that as a Nigerian, we have 20,000 bags. Now, a system in place is that what is the modus operandi for distribution? How do we go about it? We don't have that in place. That's what you were talking about, system.
Yeah.
So for that, you need help. Even you as customs, your job is not for distribution.
No.
Your job is to seize, as you have said.
Yeah.
So which agency can I engage? Can support me?
Yeah. I've
Either the local government, or I've been saying it for years, religious bodies do this every day, where either during Christmas they're giving out food, or they're doing Ramadan, they're giving out. They have systems in place of how they give it out without this kind of, you don't hear of stampede. When they are giving out stuff, they can call, let's go to trade fair, or put up a space, put sections, okay, from Ibile, from Ikorodu here, from Badagry here, trade fair, TBS. You can put groups. If you are from the Ikosi area, from the Ikorodu area here, from Locust Island here,
you would expect
put
that.
it in groups. Have a wristband.
That's the easiest thing.
Like there are steps.
Yeah. So
it's those things we don't do as Nigerians.
So data could have also helped us.
Exactly. We just mail the rice to you.
Technology.
Transfer
Even
the
if
money
you
to
don't
us.
mail
We
the
sell the
rice to you, you have the NINs from different local governments. So you pick from the NIN,
God bless you.
send text messages
God
to the
bless you.
people,
That need to
individuals
come.
that need to come.
Yes.
And they will just receive text message.
Yeah,
I'm going to pick up rice. So
So
and they
day.
spread the days of the week.
And
You can
time.
come in on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, on Thursdays, and you pick up. That's
Right.
data.
Hey.
Why are we constantly queuing to get NIN,
You have finished
BVN,
it.
get this, get that? That it will not be used. We cannot use it.
and they spend so
why do
much
we have it?
on this
Driver's
data.
license, we have everything. We can use it. What is the job of technology? It makes it seamless.
God bless you.
From your house, you just receive your text message.
So with the NIN, you can even do it randomly.
Yeah.
So nobody's saying that it was somebody's sister, somebody's
Yeah,
brother,
somebody sees
somebody's
anything.
local government
You
chairman.
pick.
And whenever
Computer picks.
and whenever you go online and then you want to impute your own and they say rice has finished, it has finished.
It has finished.
It has finished.
Nobody's gathering anywhere to pick it up.
We need
to
a
do better.
reorientation.
Yeah.
We need to continually re-educate, but you can't give what you don't have.
That's what
So who's going to educate who?
I have to train
Who will
people.
even listen?
Who will listen?
No, we have
Let
to
me take a caller. I'm told we have a caller. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Oh, wow.
Ikorodu.
We have messages too.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes. See, the issue of I understand what people are saying and the point they are coming from. But look at the palliative that there are some people gather money to give government and say give to the poor people. The right is not any day. They lock it up in the sun. So I understand if the customer saying, oh, good is as well. But they are fighting said that it is not to get all those people in here. That's what they should have done. Yes, okay.
Oh, Malayinka, we can't hear you.
Yeah,
We're really
I can
struggling to hear
barely
you. I
hear.
thought we could try to hear you
Yeah, I
out.
have a few messages here. Time Media says, morning all. The way we show greed physically is the same way we show greed and envy in our spirit. Is why a lot has been said about why people are religious when they can't even show restraint. Mina TP says, most of the people there were buying to resell. That's the level of greed Nigerians and humans by extension have. Oluwaseun Olatunde says, Miriam, Nigeria don't get time for that kind of long planning, no. Say Nigeria that is expecting Tinubu to fix Nigeria in 1 month. You will now be doing long planning to share rice. We are not a patient people, but that has to change. Kore says, if the federal government had put the right policies in place, they wouldn't have had to share a palliative measure. The government has no solution than to resort to palliatives. How long will they keep sharing rice?
Let me take this comment from the customs. It says at a point, they decided to be impatient. When we saw the crowd, we even suspended collection of forms and said, let's give them for free. We did that. We exhausted everything. After exhausting everything, we told them everything has finished and they should go, that we didn't have any more. They persisted. Some of them broke the fence and entered the place. We had to put some barricades to cover the area. Some of them went and entered the container. At a point, we used ambulance and took them to hospital. So 7 people died. So it is we are Nigerians. Sometimes we behave like this.
Yeah.
Should I
go ahead with
But I think also what Mariam reminded us, because I always refer back again to the insurrection that happened in the US, that mad people are everywhere.
Yes, everywhere.
Crazy way. So it's just about putting the rules in place.
Yeah.
So yes, they are hungry people. There's hardship in the land. You shouldn't tell them just come forward and come and pick up.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
And then when you behave badly, even with that insurrection, till tomorrow they're still putting up their pictures and catching them.
Yes.
If you think you,
Yes,
if you think you ran away because you behave badly, and that.
for you.
So in Nigeria, what do we do to people that behave badly?
Nothing.
We just say a group of people, as if they are not Nigerians, as if they fell from out of space and they disappeared again.
Yes.
Yeah, a few more messages. So for La, he said a lot of Nigerians are not good at waiting their turn. We need to do better as a people. Rushing to shoving, to enter public transport, disobeying traffic lights, the list goes on. Oladidi says lack of foresight, risk assessment, and crowd management led to this disaster.
Exactly.
Kore says, why did the government, Buhari government, close the borders? What was the positive implication of that? Why are the land borders still closed to imports? The closure led to the hike of food prices. Fiona says, federal government will not go to people's houses to teach them good behavior. You know, they were, talking to themselves that we need to be more responsible. Then Shehu says, Daystar did something like that before. With all the planning, it still didn't come out as planned. So they stopped it because of the negatives. I said at the time they had a stampede as well. So the thing is, we all just have to be responsible. And I know that there's a way poverty enters the mindset that it becomes very difficult to even think right. There are certain people in Nigeria, there are few, they will not go and stampede like that. It's not, last case, they will not take the rice. They will not go for the rice. We have people like that, but they are very few. We have people who are, aside from the greed, the mentality of if I don't have it today, I die, is what is driving it. And when you now start having conversations with the people, it's going to take a while. But are we patient to even understand where they are coming from and give them that while to understand that this is not the right way to do it? How are we going to plan the conversation? Who will handle the conversation? Is it at the local government level? Is it the media? Which people will do the talking, will do the engineering, Sometimes when you have a conversation with some of these people, they have been stripped of the basics of life. They have been stripped. You will not even
What if you
believe it.
impaled? Sorry, I'm just
My
looking
darling.
at. What if you impale yourself on that sharp
They
thing?
don't care.
They don't care.
At that time, they are not
a hungry man.
So there's an, I see a military
direct
man there.
senses.
There's an army there. There's
Look at
LASMA.
him.
Yes, yes.
I
There's
hope that
LASMA.
he's climbing there to stop
There's
them
LASMA. So we have security operatives there.
But these people can overpower them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's still not enough. And I still take it back to what I said earlier. And this really bothers me about if they're going to have this impending strike. If this can happen, and we have security agents on ground.
Yeah.
Are they enough?
Let me take this call. Babajide, we have to wrap up on this. Babajide, thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for
what
calling.
I really continue to wonder is why we are still behaving like this. In those days during the Adebanjo period, I remember very well that I was working with an organization and we call something Esenco. Esenco, they sell it through the government establishment. And I remember I used to collect rice without any hustle. So I don't know why they are doing this type of thing. It seems as if instead of moving forward and improving, we are retarded. They should organize it through the offices, all government establishments. Those who are not in government, you can deal with them well organized.
Yeah, thank you very much. We need an organized local government system.
Yes, we do.
The local government must know who lives in Koshofe, who lives in Badagry.
They should have the data.
Let's know who and who, and then where they are, their offices, the demographics, all the data you have within your very local government.
Use it.
Use it for stuff like this. We have to wrap up on this, but I think it's really painful that 7 people had to die at yesterday's stampede. It's very painful, and I think customs must take responsibility for this. I know you had the good intentions.
Yeah.
The intention was right, but there's one thing to have intentions and nothing for execution. Execution is a skill, is a business, is what you do. It's properly done and properly learned and taught out. Not a good idea, let's just give it out. No, it doesn't work that way. So these are people's lives. 7 people have died, and somebody must take responsibility. Okay, that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to another topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining us on the show is a Nigerian journalist, Adebanjo Bakare. He'll be sharing his views of how the Naira can be revived and the restoration of our economy to vibrancy level, how the federal government of Nigeria can end the untold economic hardship bedeviling the country. You remember him from the video that trended a few months back when the president was in New York for the General Assembly, where he was asking the president to commodify the Naira, and that video trended. We brought him on a few days after to share his thoughts, but as the Naira and issues of the floating of the Naira, the subsidy removal has beaten harder to Nigerians, we thought to call him back again to share his own views on what he thinks the federal government can begin to do. Also on the back of the fact that the president recently put together a committee to advise the economy. So we have Tony Lumelu, we have Dangote, we have Rewane, we have quite a number of other top economic experts to support Cardoso and others and see what they can do, the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu and others, to see what they can do to stimulate the economy. So joining us right now is Ayodeji. Welcome, Ayodeji. Are you there?
Yes, good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Morayo. Good morning, everyone.
Good to have you. So, as I was saying earlier, the president has put together an advisory committee because obviously they need help, they need support. Everything they have ingested and put to support the Naira for whatever reason is not working. They've put in billions of dollars since December to help support the Naira. It's still not working. Let's start with your own thoughts on what can we do. Hopefully one of the members of the committee is listening to us this morning, can get a few ideas from you on what we can do to stabilize the Naira. Let's start from there.
Okay, good morning, everyone, once again. Good morning, Nigeria. And I would like to sympathize and empathize with Nigerians as regards all of the economic hardships going on. And I'm actually not a journalist, but an engineer.
Okay.
So I just want to put that out there, but that's okay. Firstly, I saw what the president did yesterday as regards getting an economic advisory team and brought all of the game players in there and the game changers in there. That's a very, very good start. Okay. Now, our economy. What is our economy basically? We talk about consumption, we talk about production, we talk about transportation of all goods and services. Now we have to look at what fighting us harder or hardest. And I am going to go directly to food, because we are having serious food inflation, and food inflation actually drives all other forms of inflation. So the question is, what exactly can we do? And I think the first thing to do is to maybe copy the model of China, because when China was going through its own industrialization, they went through agriculture from the beginning. We should be able to feed our people. We should be able to provide for our people, in the sense that if we are able to feed our people, then you are having less stress on inflation. Now, when I mean feeding our people, I'm also looking at the manufacturing aspect of food. We have numerous arable lands. We have able bodies that should be put to work or that can be put to work. Now, when we look at our agriculture, for example, there are vast opportunities. Now, what are the problems that we have in agriculture, for example? There is a key problem, and that is the storage. Okay. I'm not even talking of the manufacturing aspect yet. Let's talk about the storage. And I'm going to say something here, and I hope that they hear. Now, Nigeria has train station. We have trains in Nigeria going from maybe Lagos to Ibadan. Now, I'm not talking of the fast rail. I'm talking of the ones that are under the National Railway Corporation, for example.
Okay.
Why don't we go to China and say, you know what? Why don't you guys build coaches for us that can actually store materials? Now, transportation through those rail stations. Get like solar energy type of refrigeration in these coaches. And you can use that to transport. Now, you're going to store those materials in there. You are going to put less stress on our road infrastructure and also eliminate some forms of middlemen here and there. Because if you're transporting goods and materials from, say, Borno to Lagos, you know how many checkpoints, you know how bad the roads are. But when we have that kind of storage and transportation facility, we are going in the right direction. Now, there was another opportunity that I actually saw the other day. The federal government, that is the CBN, sold some treasury bills. It was 1 trillion naira, and I think it got
subscribed.
What's the word?
Subscribed.
People, oversubscribed to the tune of maybe, I think it was 1.3 trillion naira. Companies are leaving Nigeria, fortunately and unfortunately. This is an opportunity for us to prove that we want to go into production and manufacturing. Why don't people begin to invest in these assets? Because these companies are not going to leave this assets. They're not going to carry these assets along with them. Why don't we invest and people advertise that and make it more interesting for people? Put your money into these assets. Let us upgrade and update them and redesign them. And look at how we can use raw materials in Nigeria today and use that for finished products. And now we can actually cut down that industrialization and manufacturing that we're talking about. Cut that down from about 30, 40 years. We're looking at maybe between 10 to 20 years.
Adebanjo, I know this. Adebanjo, I'll come. Ahead, I know this sounds good, but let us put it in practical terms. So, for example, GlaxoSmithKline left. You're saying that in Nigeria, maybe a private person, maybe someone like Obiajulu who has money now wants to buy GlaxoSmithKline. Now, the reason why they left is probably because some of their raw materials are being imported and they're having issues bringing it in the country in the first place. So Nigerians will also have that same problem, some challenge in producing or replicating the drugs they were producing here in Nigeria. Don't you think so? It sounds nice on paper, but practically, is it possible?
And what's the incentive? In addition to that, the incentive for the Nigerian who now wants to, a business person who now wants to get into that space, what's the incentive that you think can keep them? Because every businessman wants to make profit. And if the conditions are not favorable to them, they rather put their money somewhere else.
Okay, now let me paint a picture here. We're talking about the faltering naira, for example. There is no magic that can be done to save the naira except to become more productive, right? Nigeria already ranks as in, I think it's the 4th lowest globally when we look at our tax to GDP. Nigeria in itself needs to industrialize and need to manufacture more. And as such, we are waiting for foreign direct investment. Everybody has this idea of foreign direct investment. People are not looking at local direct investment per se. People think that as these companies are leaving, it is doom and gloom, but no, it is a blessing in disguise. Now, what I'm saying here is we have to think as regards what kind of raw materials can we use these assets for. So we don't even have to do all of the design work per se. Just redesign some particular aspects and look for what kind of raw materials we can bring in. Okay, we talked about pharmaceutical companies leaving. Okay, there is the bitter leaf, we have bitter leaf scattered everywhere. Okay, how can we get the bitter leaf in, and how can we turn it into capsules, for example? And we already have some certain assets lying fallow. This is where also, when we talk about our education, this is where the education comes into play, where we can have university students and coming in to assist. This is where we would have all of our engineers and co in Nigeria coming in to assist. I'm a chemical engineer by practice. Maybe that is why I'm thinking this way, because I see an opportunity here. What is the incentive? You do not have to even, start looking at, I want to go and look for dollars somewhere. It is here in Nigeria. The assets are already here in Nigeria. So what we need to do is sit engineers down in the room, or sit chemists down in the room, sit all of these professors down in the room, and upgrade, update, and redesign. That is what I am saying here. I'm talking about cutting all of this, our industrialization, cutting it down by half. Now, I have another thing I'm going to say here, which
One second, Deji.
controversial.
Deji, before you go into that controversial one, let me get a few questions in, then we'll come to that controversial matter.
So, Deji, I agree with you. Everything that you've said here, what needs to be done, industrialization, how when companies are leaving Nigeria, it does not spell doom. I agree completely, and I think many times we discuss it here. But right now, but everything you've talked about, like that is a solution. The way Nigeria is right now is a long-term solution. Industrialization will not take 4 years. You know, there's so many things we need to do, but there's a long time before we can get there. Now, the problems Nigeria are having is the right now. While we're making all these moves for industrialization, for, you know, building our own capacity in pharmaceuticals and things like that, Nigerians are saying we are hungry right now. And I think government is scrambling around to find what are the short-term measures right now that is best for Nigeria, that also does not sabotage the long-term goals that we're heading for. Do you understand? Because I personally, I'm worried for some of the palliatives that we're giving out. And I'm saying, I hope tomorrow they will not say, it's the money we're supposed to build school, that we use it to give you people rights. You know, what do you think is the best thing, short-term right now, to allay these issues?
Well, are we trying to build, let me ask this question to the crew. Are we trying to build strong people or strong institutions? Are we trying to build strong people or strong institutions? We have to take the, what's it called? The tough, the bitter way in this particular case. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. There is nothing we can do like that per se. Because when you talk about palliative and with subsidy and all of these things, they have to be targeted. There are a lot of people that don't need those subsidies and those palliative that are requesting for them. In the Western world that we are trying to copy or model, it is people that are working minimum wage don't go for subsidy and palliative and all of that. They have a system that can actually capture the people that are truly in need. But Nigeria of today doesn't have that. So, okay, let's give them cash. Okay, look at it for example. You have the state register for the registry for the vulnerable and poor. You have that for the federal government. How many people are in that registry? Maybe we need to improve our data gathering so that when they roll out and roll out this palliative, it goes along with. The only short term is palliative per se, and also what the CBN is doing, because a lot of people are saying, saving the naira, you are not doing the things you're supposed to do. Why is the CBN doing this and that? The CBN doesn't produce or provide dollars. They do not manufacture dollars. They are only cleaning shop or cleaning house. They are in charge of the monetary policies. That is interest rates and the currency and forex and all of that. How you inject forex into the country and currency and all of that. That is all they are doing. Now you have the Ministry of Trade and Investment. Because like I always say, there is nothing we can do without going through the manufacturing route. Let me throw this question. How many people want to go to the farm in Nigeria today? Now, I know there is insecurity. The government is working towards tackling insecurity, but let us sit down and ask ourselves, what is the incentive to push people to the farm? And even people that are in the farm today, farming and all of that, are they patriotic enough? We've seen in the news where a lot of people are carrying these our foods and trying to smuggle it out of the country. Yeah. You only move food out of the country when you have satisfied the needs of the people in your country. So at the end of the day, we can sit here and talk about what are the different, short term that we can do, but there are no short term around this, and that has been the problem of our country, because we are always looking for a messiah, we are always looking for short term solutions.
Exactly.
What we need today is to take the hard road, the hard way, and it's not going to come easy. Like I said, do we need strong people to say, oh, this president was the best president at his time, or worst president at his time? Or do we want strong institutions where we don't need to have that president or that minister or that senator, but just have that institution that is working?
Yeah.
That is what we
let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guest, Adebanjo, back here with us. Amaka had a question for him. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Adebanjo. So in response to the short-term remedies and then the long-term remedies, being proposed by you, I think we're also focusing on the wrong things. I think we should focus on power. Because without power, you can't drive industrialization. You can't produce, you can't manufacture. And I think, my co-host said something about, we can't do certain things within 4 years, but we can get power, we can sort out power within 4 years. And if we can sort out power within 4 years, then we can produce, we can manufacture, then we can start taking care of the immediate hardship happening in Nigeria. So we need to, I know there's this cabal about the generator cabal and all that, but we need to focus on power.
Adebanjo, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me say this here. Fortunately and unfortunately, I'm going to tell Nigerians this. I don't think we can fix our power problem in 10 to 20 years.
What?
Why?
Why?
Please.
Let us be very realistic here.
Please explain.
Let us be very realistic. Now, power has been divided into generation, transmission, and distribution.
Yeah.
When the when the privatization happened in 2006 and 2013, they didn't manage it very well, and as such, the power companies are not even breaking even. The federal government is paying is going to pay 1.7 trillion naira as subsidy for power today. I'm telling everyone that wishes to listen to me today that if we are to pay the true cost of power in Nigeria, we are going to be paying triple what we are paying today. Now, the people that are in the business are not breaking even. So how are they going to invest in the infrastructure? Nigerians, unfortunately, we have a very low purchasing power.
Very low.
We have one of the lowest purchasing power around this West Africa and all of that. Ghana has a higher purchasing power. So the question is, will you carry your money and invest? So now that's why I'm saying that we know that we have the power issues. That's why I don't want to dwell on it. Now, what can we do around it? While the federal government is trying to fix transmission and while the GENCOs, generation companies, are trying to do their thing at this coast, do you know that it's only 60% of Nigerians that pay their electricity bills?
Including parastatals.
Yeah.
MDAs.
The other day we heard that the Villa and so many other places were owing to the tune of 47 billion naira.
Yeah.
So what kind of business model is that? Exactly. So what I'm saying here is that if I'm like Thanos, for example, and I snap my fingers this way and we have electricity, yes. But let us not be caught in that mirage of the power comes, everything is going to be fixed. No, we have infrastructure. Power is under that infrastructure. We have the multiple taxation issues. We have policies. We have regulation. We have security. Everything all works hand in hand. Now, if I sit people down and say, okay, we have the electricity, what can you do with electricity?
Plenty things.
A friend of mine that I know. That's what I'm saying. What can we do with electricity? Where is the ingenuity? Yeah, okay, this is what we're going to do differently. So that's why I'm saying that because of all of the issues, and listen to what the Minister for Power has been saying. He's been saying we cannot pay subsidy. So if you remove the subsidy, what happens to the common man? And now, how much returns? Because people definitely not pay their bills for the most part. And if they cannot pay their bills, how are you going to thrive in that business? Let me tell you the truth, the privatization in 2006 and 2013 was bad business. That's the point blank period, because electricity is a business-making venture. We all think many a times we try to push Nigeria into running a welfare society. Nigeria is not a welfare society per se.
It's a business.
You can only be a welfare society when you are making so much revenue. How much revenue are we making? We are one of the lowest when it comes to our tax to GDP ratio. We are like the fourth lowest.
Okay, so if we remove power for a second, based on what you're saying, we should focus on industrialization, manufacturing. Hopefully that will put more money into people's pockets, and then hopefully they will to pay for whatever power is available.
No, we still need power for that. We can't take out
so that
to him is saying 20 years, so that's still long.
No, that's for everybody. There's a special power for special manufacturing.
Let me add something, because we're talking about power, and power is like one of the major issues that we need to fix if we need to go forward in this country. They've been talking about removing subsidy, right? And some people have been saying Nigerians will not be able to pay when they finally remove subsidy. And I beg to differ, because I know that depending on the level that you are, your bills are different. In developed economies, the rich or the middle class basically pays more for services than the poor. So everything is done in bandwidth level. Now, if we get our parastatals, government parastatals that are owing billions to these generation and the discos and all of that to pay their basic. So no government parastatal should owe. As they are using power, they are paying their basic. That's enough money for them to be able to turn over their business. You take out that subsidy, and then the middle class and the rich pay more in terms of tariff than the poor. You will be able to still find a way to level it. Because if we keep pushing this down the road, at what point do we now say we're taking out subsidy for people to be able to have enough electricity to do their business?
Okay, we're having real talk here, and I like your energy, BC. Let's have this real talk here. Averagely, we are paying about 53 naira per kilowatt hour. For this goes to even break even, they need to be charging about 150 naira per kilowatt hour. I made electricity when I worked as a utilities engineer for about 3 years. So I know over 3 years, I know what it entails. So can we pay 150 naira per kilowatt hour? I would say the calculation should be how much does the middle class pay for like diesel or petrol? How much do they pay for diesel and petrol? And factor that into how much energy is being generated, and say, you see, I'm spending almost 80,000 naira per month, and I use that to power my generator, and then we can have a good case. We can have a good case and put all the numbers on the table. Don't get me wrong, though. I am a proponent and I am optimistic that our power situation will be solved. I am optimistic. I agree with you, BC. I am a Nigerian. I am a patriotic Nigerian. But we need to face the harsh reality. Now, we are not even talking about vandalism that we are doing ourselves. When the government and the companies actually set up all of this infrastructure, and then we ourselves go there to go and vandalize it. I watched a video the other day in Ikorodu. They moved a full, that was over the weekend, they moved a full transformer. That in itself deters people from wanting to invest, because that's part of the industrialization I'm talking about. I'll say something here again, and I hope the federal government, they're listening. Like I always say, there are no trade-offs. So there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. Sorry, there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. Now let's move a little bit. Our money maker is what's it called? Crude oil.
Crude oil.
Our money maker in Nigeria is crude oil. Even though this government has tried actually from 1.2, 1.1 that the former administration left it at, now it's at 1.5, 1.6. So they are doing something right. However, former President Olusegun Obasanjo said about 80% of our crude oil is being stolen on a daily basis. So imagine 80% plus 1.5. So we should be doing between 3.5 to 4 million barrels per day. Why don't you call all of these bad guys in quotes to the table and tell them, guys, rather than doing this bunkering or this vandalism or this theft, bring all that money, come and invest it in our refineries and clean yourself up. We are going to forgive you. Take all of those your monies and put it in that refinery, because Nigeria is trying to look for who's going to buy the refinery. And there you go. You've solved another industrialization problem there. And like I'm saying, we need to be thinking local, not Western. Our education, the education we have is a conformist type of education. We should be critical thinking. Our education is such that it is tailored towards solving Western problems, but not our own core problems.
True. True.
Not our own core problems. And that is why I'm saying there is liquidity in Nigeria right now as we are speaking. Because the inflation we are seeing today is when too much money is chasing less goods. There's evidence that there is money. Call these guys to the table. It's just like when I gave an idea the other day on your program, and I said for insecurity, for example, in the north, all this mining and all of these things going on, call all of them to the table, tell them to set up a business, set up a company and be the middleman. That ends insecurity. We forgive you. All of you, set up your company. You guys will be in charge of the transportation. You have the people that are mining, yes, and you guys will be in charge of transportation. You've cleaned them up. You've solved that. Because like I said, follow the money. It's all about money. You make more money actually by doing things the right way. You are clean. That is how we should be thinking. Now, I even talked about education, for example. And it's good that I even talked about that education, for example. Now, see, in Nigeria today, if I were the president, for example, I know there is a section in our constitution, section 18, that says that we should provide free education, up to tertiary education. I will not even fund tertiary education. I will not fund tertiary education. I will carry all of that money and focus on vocational and technical colleges.
Yeah.
I will focus on colleges of education that will teach people.
Skill.
I will focus on that because,
do we need power?
because we are saying that we want to sell IT and all of that. We want Nigeria to compete. The Indians are already there, saturated. If we're talking about industrialization, we're going to tell the investors coming in that hey, Nigeria is known to have the best operators. Nigeria is known to have the best technicians. We can even sell those services out there. We have trained people here. So that is what part of the things we should be focusing on. Because people come out of school and say no job. Just because you went to a 4-year university or a polytechnic, that doesn't guarantee you a job. It doesn't guarantee people jobs anywhere. Like I said, local solutions, not your typical orthodox, like your typical plug-and-play solutions. Nigeria is in a complex situation, so it requires complex answers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
So this morning I saw in the papers where Atiku Abubakar, the opposition leader, was saying to our president that he should adopt the Argentine way, their own way of, in the way that they handle their own economic issues. And he says that he explained it as cutting government expenditure by cutting the size of government and wastage, block the stealing of government funds, attract foreign direct investment through concessions, tax holidays, and improve ease of doing business. You know, you said there are no solutions, only trade-offs. So I'm looking at this. Are we looking at tax holidays? You know, I hear Nigerians saying some people have been given too much leeway. Big companies, they don't pay tax. And now, one person's opinion is saying give tax holidays, give tax concessions. What do you think? What is the trade-off here? What should be the trade-off here?
Well, respectfully to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, I think he was maybe misinformed as regards President Milei of Argentina. I'm not trying to badmouth President Milei here, but he's a radical. I don't know if people watched his, his campaign and all of that. Argentina is in a different situation than Nigeria. Argentina's inflation is off the roof. Argentina is actually a dollarized economy as we are speaking today. And Milei is actually even saying that he wants to dollarize the economy more, like using the Argentina peso. So when former Vice President was talking about Argentina and what they are doing, I'm like, is it the same Milei that I've been following? Because I do some little talks on geopolitics and all of that. Now, I'm not going to discard everything that the former vice president said in his report as regards cutting wastage. Cutting wastage is a vague statement. It's an ambiguous statement. What is defined as cutting wastage or cutting government spending? Okay, the highest employer of labor, for example, is the government in Nigeria. If you cut wastage like you are saying, who is going to employ these people? Are there jobs for them? Who can absorb them? Can the private sector absorb them? So I'm thinking that this president's approach is similar to what he did in Lagos. Because if you look at Lagos, they actually created more jobs, but then created more revenue. The key here is either you are austerity measures, like you are cutting everything possible, you are cutting everything, or you are like, you know what, this is where we are. Now, let us improve the revenue. Let us increase revenue, and we can pay for all of these certain things. So I'm thinking that is the trade-off here. But to just call President Milei of Argentina, and not really understanding the policy, and also the World Bank giving these guys tens of billions of dollars as loan. In Nigeria, they cannot even give us up to $2 billion as loan because our maybe because of some things I may not want to say on TV, race and all of that. But then also, we need to understand that Nigeria already, our credit card, for example, has been maximized already.
Yeah.
We have used all our
goodwill
to borrow money. We've used it to borrow money. And maybe the only way that we're getting some cash into the country through the sale of crude oil is maybe the 200,000 barrels additional.
Okay, Adebanjo.
And that's why this government is really big on, we need to increase production.
Okay, I have a caller.
Yeah, sorry.
I have a caller, Peter from Agodo. We're holding for a minute. Good morning, Peter. You're live. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. My name is Peter. We've been talking too much on this issue every year. 10 years ago, we'll talk about this thing. 15 years today, we'll talk about this thing. Why is it that we'll continue to talk and nobody's taking correction? We'll continue to have leaders over time. They cannot sit down and have a proper planning. If we talk about electricity, where I live, people steal electricity every day. I fight them as if I'm the owner of a power holding company. I don't know where we'll get this thing right, because the Nigeria that we have today, if we don't properly come down and think of way out, I don't think we'll get out of this problem. People are stealing billions. People are stealing billions just to make sure their family, when their children cough, they will go to London for hospital. And there's a lot of things we need to do. Please, let our leaders calm down and remove the ego. The wastage is too much. The beginnerism is too much. Everybody's trying to get it now so that it's my turn. Let me get it now so that my own children will be secured. The day we remove selfishness and calm down and look at what is happening now, we'll get out of this thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
These are the issues.
There was something that I would like you to address that BC said earlier, because a lot of people might have that thinking. I'd like you to just clarify it a bit more. BC has suggested that maybe if government pays their debt to these electricity companies, that will give them enough money to actually pay their infrastructural deficits and have the issues, solve the issues they're having, and then we have more power, and then also build the middle class. Is that really because many people might hold on to that statement and say, yes, let them go and pay it so that we can have more money. But do you think that's really going to help to resolve the power issue we have, especially after now all the states have been allowed to independently generate their own power? How else can that support power? Because at the end of the day, after all this English we're speaking, we cannot industrialize without power. We cannot create jobs without power. We still need
where
power.
do we end? Where will we
even the vocational schools, right?
How will they implement those skills they have learned without power?
The foundation is still power. So, Adebanjo, help us. How do we? I really need you to clarify that part for Nigerians so that they can have a better understanding.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we need to understand that we have limitations in our power sector. Even if we pay all of our bills, for example, which I think is just a drop in the ocean. On record, I think our IS was 5,002 or 5,003 megawatts. I think that was under President Buhari.
Yeah.
That is not enough. What we need today is to the tune of between 20,000 megawatts to 30,000 megawatts.
Why can't that
That involves a lot of capital spending. Now I'm talking of power that is delivered to the people, not power being generated or transmitted. Now transmission on the other hand can only do 8,000 megawatts. Our distribution can only do 5,000 megawatts, and we need 20,000 megawatts. So even if you pay the parastatals pay their bills, how much is it? How much are our people owing the Gencos? The Gencos cannot even pay discos. They cannot even pay. So the thing is about how do we increase our purchasing power at the end of the day so that we can afford. Yes, it is a very good idea. However, are Nigerians ready for that shock? Because when that happens, there's going to be more inflation.
Yeah.
There's going to be more inflation. Things are going to bite much. It's just like for the fuel that we're buying today, for example, fuel gasoline. It's sold at 700 or 670 or 700 or something like that today in Nigeria. The true cost for that fuel today is 1,200 naira.
Yeah.
So for the Nigerians out there, 1,200 naira per liter. So for Nigerians out there that are sad that the dollar is coming down and naira is going up, remember, as that dollar is coming down, that is how the subsidy that the government is paying on electricity is on fuel is coming down too. So as dollar is going up, how much you are paying for the government is paying for subsidy is going high. Because I told people that wish to hear that we're still paying subsidy for fuel, for example, we're still paying it. So if dollar goes back to where it was, 750, that was when the federal government saw those true savings. You remember, immediately they removed subsidy and they got like maybe 1.9 trillion to share. And they said, you know what, let's hold on. Let us just share 900 billion or 1.7 trillion and save the rest.
Yeah.
So that is where we are. That is where we are as a nation. It is just a drop. We need serious capital investment. But if you want to invest, you want to recoup. I know, BC, I know you are a businesswoman. If I put in, as a businesswoman, if you put in 100,000 naira, BC, you want to get 500,000 naira out of that business. Let us call it speed is speed. It's a capitalist society.
Yeah.
It's a business-making venture. So the question is, if I put that amount of money, what am I getting in returns when the people themselves cannot afford to pay? So that's why very
bad business. Let me take this call.
Solar. A lot of Nigerians are now doing solar now. A lot of Nigerians are now using inverters now. So that's what I'm saying. That's where the ingenuity comes in. We have to start thinking through all of these different things. That's all I'm saying.
Let me take a call.
I want power to be solved. Yes.
Let me take a call. Oluwaseun, thanks for calling. You're live.
Okay, good morning, Morayo, DC, Miriam, and the other lady. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And it's nice meeting Mr. Commodification of the Naira through cassava. Yeah, you know, I've been longing to meet you so that I can give us an expose on that. Yes, I want to ask a question. You know, are you aware that the federal government has removed the power from the exclusive list? So now, state anyone can generate light. So now, what can you talk to that? You know, I want you to give us that, because you know when you spend 20 years, that it take us like 20 years, even more, to begin to get power, right? That's very scary. So what solution? What can we do, even with this law? You know, with this new law, that anyone can generate, states can generate light. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning again. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Deji.
Yes, I didn't hear what you were saying.
No, you were just saying that
clearly. It was a little bit.
Okay, so what he was saying was that, what do you say to the fact that the law has been adjusted to ensure that the states are able to generate their own power? What do you say? What can the states do individually? What opportunities are there for the states to adopt this and begin to generate power?
Well, I think a lot of Nigerians, a lot of us think that these things are plug and play. I am in the manufacturing industry. At least, if you want to build a power plant, like you have the full funding, you want to build a power plant, you want to build a chemical plant or refinery, it's going to take you nothing less than 3 to 5 years. You need to get all of the permits, you need to do all of your safety, process hazard analysis, in Nigeria, we do what's called EIA, environmental impact assessment. You need to do all of these things. Now, also, what kind of the infrastructure also? So we're talking of billions and billions of dollars or trillions and trillions of naira in investment. So the question is, how do we make it lucrative for the investors to come in and invest? You do not expect the government. Now, the government can go into public-private partnership like what Lagos State is known to do. However, funding from government and funding from the investors, maybe local investors or foreign investors, I think that is where the part of the problem is. And also, we the people assuring that we are going to pay our bill. I mean the right bill now, not the bill that the federal government is paying 70 or 80% for us in subsidy. These are the major loopholes. It's so beautiful and so interesting on paper. However, it takes a whole lot for that to come into fruition. Nigerians, are you ready to pay your NEPA bill?
Okay, so I think that sounds good a bit in the sense that, so governors, for example, if you have like a GRA, you have somewhere like a middle class where some people live, you can decide to get a private investor or an international investor to partner with you to generate power for that area. At least you know they will pay.
Yes.
Hopefully, you can now subsidize for the other areas that are not able to pay. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think we're already doing that in Lagos.
In Lagos, yes.
We have IPPs, independent power plants already.
Yes.
There are some parts of Lagos that have electricity. So the thing is, I don't want to sound too technical. You're talking about the breakdown of how electricity is generated and all of that, like the turbines and the transformers and the feeders and all of that. So they are going to do all of these things themselves. That's billions of dollars.
Okay.
In quotes.
Let me get one question for you. Sorry, we're running out of time.
Okay, so Mr. Ayodeji, we are here to profess solutions, but then I think for every solution we tend to bring up, you tend to make us feel like, oh, it's so difficult, it's this, it's that, we can't do it, it's impossible. Excuse me. So that's not encouraging. Like I know, and we all know that Rome was not built in a day. So if you're saying that we can have private investors come in that can now decide, that cannot map out an area and make sure that there's light. And then whoever wants to key into that, in terms of those that are into production, manufacturing, can do that, and then they have to pay to do that. Then that's a step forward. So if we start doing that in batches and in different locations and states and everything, then we now know that, okay, we have a 3-year plan, we have a 5-year plan, we have a 10-year plan to achieve what we want to achieve. And believe you me, when people start saying that, people are able to do their businesses, manufacture, produce, because there's light and the people actually pay for it, then more people want to key into it. So don't make us feel like that, oh, everything is money, million. Yeah, you can't do anything without money anyway. So if we are determined as a country to, and we agree as a country that want to move forward, that we are all suffering here. There's so much hardship, and that this is one of the solutions, immediate solutions on the table. I believe that people will bring in the money and rally around to make this happen. Really? Yeah, nothing is that difficult. It's not rocket science.
I know we are running out of time, but let me explain something here. Like I said, I am very optimistic. I want it to work. We already have a similar model in place. At least we have band A, band B, band C, and all of that. Today, there are some people that are paying much more than what the lower kids are paying. So the question is, how has that been working? How has that model been? So that is a test run for whatever is going to come into that business. And that's why I said in Lagos we already have IPPs. It's a step in the right direction, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying if we want that grand investment coming in, like I said, for us to run a country today, we need ×5 or ×6 of the megawatts that we are producing today. And we need funding for that. And we need to improve the purchasing power of the people so they can afford it. And that will bring me to my most controversial statement here, time permitting. Okay. Now, let me be very careful what I'm about to say, but I will say it anyway.
Be careful.
I want to talk about churches. I want to talk about churches.
Okay.
Now, the churches in Nigeria. Some churches in Nigeria are already in a capitalist business, right? They already run schools, right? A school is capitalist, right? Private schools.
True.
Why don't they go into industrialization too?
The schools?
Okay. Churches.
Yes. The churches?
Churches, okay.
Yes.
Since we're running schools, which is Google start running manufacturing companies.
For power generators.
They have the liquidity. Now we're talking about cutting our industrialization journey into half. They have the liquidity. They will employ their own church members.
So what
now we are going to create opportunities for these people. Remember, they've already been running private schools already. So it is not like, oh, we are a church, we cannot do this or we cannot do that. Bring out this money and open local industries. Create this job. You can have lands already. I don't want to call the names of these different schools here. But that's what I'm saying. There are no solutions but just trade-offs. That cuts it into half already. That's 10,000, like a certain church, 10,000 people, you employ 10, 15,000 people, that is going to increase and improve the purchasing power of Nigeria. Now, because we all know there is no magic we can perform on the Naira except we manufacture locally here.
So, for example, we have RCCG, farming something.
Peso, for example.
Bread making.
No, I was just saying that, for example, we have RCCG farms. Refineries. RCG
manufacturing.
Textile industry.
Exactly.
You know, and then we're producing
flour mills.
Yes, flour mills. Okay.
Too small.
Sounds good. Go ahead, Deji.
And then also the labor might not be as when you are paying for the labor, you pay more than the minimum wage, obviously. But now there's
help your people.
There's that incentive, there's that church, there's that God Almighty, there's that okay, we are doing this for the people also. It is capitalist, don't get me wrong. They are already in the capitalist business.
They are.
Now let us come and transcend what we have. The churches and the mosque, for example, they are one of the biggest, if not the biggest institutions in Nigeria.
Yes.
There was this that talked about what South Africa exports to Nigeria. They showed ShopRite, they showed DSTV, they showed MTN. When they showed Nigeria's own, they showed RCCG, they showed what's it called? What's the name of the other church?
Living Faith.
Winners.
Now.
They showed all of them. So why don't we transform? So the leaders of these churches are listening because already they may be doing bread, like just in small scale. Guys, we can go big scale. We'll cut Nigeria's industrialization issue to half. And they can even have IPPs. They will even have IPPs. Look at Lagos State, for example, with the rail program.
Mr. Bakare, it's a church.
No, please.
Mr. Bakare, I have to wrap up the show. It's a church.
But they have a school.
Mr. Bakare, I have to wrap up the show. Please. We cannot mix church and state.
Yes.
I don't understand.
The money the church
parallel.
It's parallel, yes.
for propagating the
Yes,
gospel.
the money we make in church is for propagating the gospel, just like marriage. Yes, the schools that used to educate is also part of used to propagate.
The gospel.
We are propagating the gospel with our money, please.
Educating the disciples.
Hold on, ma, respectfully, but the church came out of the state now.
Exactly.
You should have said it on in the beginning. The show has already ended, Bakare.
Because this is like
now.
the solution.
The church came out of the state.
Okay, we have to wrap up. Unfortunately, I wish you had said this earlier. I know I stopped you.
Dealt with it.
We have really, maybe we'll do a part 2 of this. So how will the church help industrialization
In the States.
Get going. That'll be our question. That'll be our next topic with you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll bring you back so we can break this thing, church and industrialization.
States, yeah.
You know, we'll see how that works. But thank you so much, Mr. Ayo Bakare, for joining us this morning. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. So it's something worthy to go back to think about.
Yeah.
And dwell on it a bit and see how that works. Hopefully, if people have watched the show today, and take it with this, we'll discuss it further another day and see if it's possible. Although some of us believe that.
And see what
You cannot believe anything.
Yeah, it's a poll. Me, I just believe that
You cannot
church
believe
money,
anything.
church money is
Because they're
church
already
money.
running a business.
Yes.
They're not running a business.
The schools are businesses.
even the church.
Have a lovely day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye.
Obiajulu.
Leave me alone.
Monday morning.